So on the term that I call them babysitters, when they sit here and they go out, they're doing it for the state. The state, it's believed the state created us in some way and owns us. Because the governors, probably even the mayors, and the politicians will go, my people, or our people. We don't belong to you. You didn't create us. We created you. You belong to us. You're ours. The government is ours. The state is ours. The people was supposed to have created all this. Not somebody else. You know, a group of people. It's not supposed to be just a group of people. But I got to admit, it was a group of people got together, group mentality. It's a cult when the groups get together and they get to thinking the same way. And then they want to force other people to be their way. Oh, you're going to come around our area. You're going to get into a social, non-consensual contract. But it's consensual through the fact you want to live here. No. If I don't tell you plain and clear that I'm going to consent to everything you need me to, so while I'm living in this area that don't belong to you, you didn't really buy it from God, the creator, I mean. You didn't buy it from the maker. So you're practically stealing it and saying, I own it, and you're going to pay me for it, and I can tax it and make all this money. And it don't belong to me in reality. But in fairy tale world, it belongs to them. They own it. They bought it. They used God's money to buy God's land. And then they created their own Confederate money, but they attached gold to it. So it had value. But they're still using, even though it's their paper and printing with natural ink, and the paper's natural, they're using all of God's stuff that God created against God to use against everybody else. That's of them. They're all traitors to their own kind. Every one of them. Don't matter what you call them. They're all traitors to their own kind. Because they don't care about their own. Or they wouldn't go out and be violent. They wouldn't just say, I go by what the law allows me to do. Well, the law don't state you're allowed to put your hands on people and be violent just because they don't want to do what you want them to do. Where's the law say that? Well, I do what the law allows me to say. Well, if you want to know what the law allows them to do, learn the fucking law. Like I'm doing. Like others have been doing. They didn't get out there to they didn't come up to me. YouTube put it on my deal for me to find them and watch them and all that. YouTube gave some of them to me, or most of them. I didn't do it. I could just go to them. Reality's right there. Okay. The Constitution says these are all protected. I see that. We were taught about the Declaration of Independence. What it was created to do. Prevent anything to be. I don't think the forefathers created taxation anywhere in the Constitution. Period. Because it was reconstructed in 1871 to fit the federal corporation. When they turned it into a system of law, justice. It's a municipality. That's all it is. It's a municipality. They go by the Supreme Court. That's what rule they use to control all of that and us, is through the Supreme Court. Supremacy comes out of that word supreme. So they're the supremacy. They are the true supremacy. You look at white people as wanting to control black people. Like back in the slavery days. And then they got the slaves to help them keep those others as slaves. They had prisoner or prison guards that sat there, watched the prisoners with the guns. And then they would give a prisoner a gun with one bullet. And then they say, you can help us. So one of them can go do something else that they shouldn't be doing while on the job. You can think of whatever that is. But, oh, I need a break. I got to go do something. I got to go, meet someone. And then you got the one out away paying attention, or two anyways. There's got to be more than, because that one, if he turns it just right and hits them just right, they're all free. So there has to be more than just two. So there was more than likely, usually always more than just two or three of them. So that way, they keep everybody else in line too. If the other one decides to create chaos, to try to create an opportunity for them all to escape. But you don't know the full history of the black, every group, different groups and individual black people in this country, how they thought when they was brought from another country. Just think of it as another planet, brought from another country, and then all of a sudden over here in this country, it's way different. This planet, this country is way different than where they come from, that they know. There's a lot more different poisonous stuff and things that, you got to be careful of and even not touch. Just touching something that soaks in your skin, it kills you. So they were practically stuck where they were put. When someone got them, however, trading, money, bartering. Because they used a lot of that back then. We barely used any of that other today. But it's coming back. You're about to see it probably next year or before this winter's over. So. But yeah, there are babysitters. They go out and they sit for the state or the governors and the mayors and the politicians. They sit for them and watch over us. They're babysitters. Set in place to watch over us. The children. The males and females that are children. You're not seen as a boy or girl if you're young, below the age of what you would be considered as a man and a woman. No, you're a male and female, so they could just, it says gender, but it's still used as an identification as male and female. So they could tie alien, illegal alien. Oh, this illegal male, no alien. You're not a man. You're not a woman. You're not to be treated as a human. You're not a human. On these devices, what do they put up to confirm what you are? It don't say legal person or bot. This is the only thing that sits there and asks, are you a human or a bot? There's nothing that says, are you a human or a legal person? I'm not a legal person. Look it up. Human versus legal person. That's what they fought for. Freedom. The others fought to take over and force people through violence. Killing women and children, burning down homes and stuff. Women and children. Mafia always said, and other countries with soldiers, no women, no children. That was the motto. That was common sense. Because they need them. It was pretty much a preservation of that race, too. Maybe not without knowing it. Maybe knowing it. Because they would, they would go through them Indian tribes. They would kill all the men. If any of the women tried, or the kids, well, they would kill them too. Because they killed them up down to a certain age. And after, and down to a certain age, they would grow up, usually eventually forget about all of that, and never take revenge. So, here, when the Civil War happened, the North came and decided to just kill everybody to take over. The South never went up towards the North during that war. It did that in any northern states. Go out and say, you're killing my women, we're going to go kill yours too. There was no women, no children. Not the North. These people, they bother everybody. Men, women, children, your pets, everything. They don't care. It's worse now than it's ever been with these people. Or pretty much the same. It ain't changed. Just like these other countries, they're sitting here, boom, boom, boom. They're bombing the people, but the leader is still alive. You're not looking at that. They're bombing the people and their own military and the enemy's military, soldiers. But they're not taking out the source. They're not trying desperately to only take out where the source is located. Instead, they're having their wars in the cities. Just women and children, babies, pregnant women, and, babies that never... Oh, we're for the safety of the children. Oh, we gotta protect the children. You all just can't see it. All the hypocrisy everywhere and the rot in your face. I always say this, but you can see on here when they put blood and gore of their mothers in the mother countries, which I think is AI. I don't think any of it's happening. They're just going to see what you're going to do, how you're going to react. Oh, they're just sitting there bitching about it and not rising up doing a damn thing about it. We keep doing what we're doing. We don't care. We don't care if you don't care. Or if they don't care. We, they, them, ours, us. They love those words. Because it gets all the other stupid people to tie themselves into we, us, ours. And then to tie everybody else that they're against, they say is their enemy, our enemies. They don't just straight say every time our enemies from these other countries. And our enemies that's in this country. and then state exactly what those enemies are. They use media and then you to parrot all the other enemies. That's not enemies. Is someone without a driver's license intentionally going out there to hurt someone just because they don't want to have a driver's license? Does that cause intentional harm to anyone to not have a driver license? To not have registration? Oh, I'm not going to have a driver license and registration. That's going to intentionally harm someone. Oh, I'm doing something real bad. Oh, gotta give them probation and take a bunch of money from them. Because it's somehow doing harm to somebody. Having none of that does no harm to anyone. In law, and men and women of law, it's an accident. It don't matter if it's intentional or whatever. It's an accident. It's that other one's fault. That cop ran into them while running around trying to catch that one. That's that one's fault for running. It's not the cop's fault for putting everybody else in danger when that one went on the roads and did what he or she did. No, that cop didn't put anyone in danger. No, that one did. No, they didn't put anyone in danger when they started chasing someone that wanted to run. Bah, 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 chasing them, shooting them in the back when they're trying to get away. They're not trying to hurt anyone. I haven't said they committed a very violent, horrific crime or almost, or just decide to run. So one dude decided to run, guns pointed all at him. They had the wrong guy, and he freaked out, a man of color. And he ran, and they chased him. There was a diesel. The cop even hit the diesel. Didn't cause that diesel to go, but danger on the highway, putting other people in danger. Hit that car. And yeah, he did slow down. He hit the brakes, and so the cop hit him right about where the two doors meet, back and front door. And then it caused them both to go over, but the cop ended up being able to go around somehow in front of them. I guess he gunned it or something, because their vehicles are made to where they can do things no normal vehicle can do. See, their lives are more protected with those type of vehicles than yours. Automakers, and they'll make sure they're highly protected more than you. So they don't make a regular hour, that we buy, big stop, to be able to where you can handle things better, like those police cars, those state sanctioned authoritarian style police tools. That's all they are. They're race cars, and they're built to handle those speeds. Their tires are made to handle. They can make all tires like that. But they need accidents, so they're going to have shitty tires. People buy cheap, shitty tires. And then they have the remade tires for the poor, where they get sent in if they're good. Those get sent in. They take the old tread off, and then they somehow melt it back on and put new tread. I had them on an old Cadillac I had, 82 Cadillac. And the tread came off of one. I hit the brakes like an idiot. And then I went directly into a spin and spun out. And I was loaded with stuff. I was going back to Irving. It was me and my brother and my dog. Or we was going to visiting, I don't remember. But I just remember that. And I went into a spin twice in that thing. Once on an icy road, because their roads do this. pretty much you can really see it to run that water off for winter. But it don't really work that great when it's cold enough. It's still going to be icy. So, and that's what causes all that. So, when people come out and they make a turn. So I think the roads should just be flat, period. They just throw their salt on them. They tried all that. That's too dangerous. It's for icy roads during winter. So, in my opinion, so they just need to do away with that, make them flat. They're going to have water on them. They're going to have ice on them. I mean, for the roads and always dirt when it's pouring and stuff, I see it's just not. It's not enough. It would have to be like a roof, so it sheets off faster. And we can't have that. So they need to make the roads the way they used to, where people could drive on them, and there weren't accidents. Because I believe back then they were actually flat. And there were no accidents. Because there was no little curve or slant to cause you to go in that direction of the slant once you start going. Because you ain't stopping, even if you let off the gas and you don't hit the brakes. But if you hit the brakes and you start, that's it. Never touch them brakes. Never. You just do whatever you can. Last time I turned my front wheel, I couldn't hit brakes because I was on ice and going over a bridge. And there was a truck on the side where I was sliding towards, stuck on the guardrail. And then I had my wheels turned all the way to the left because I was going straight to the right towards it. And then all of a sudden I hit pavement. Wham! And when I did, the rear end of my truck swung that other way away from it. And I swung all the way over into the median. I was amazed I didn't flip. Almost every one of my tires were flat. Because I was going downhill as I was sliding spinning towards the grass and everything. Everything was wet. And I came to a stop. Then I got out and I got stuff out of the back of my truck. And I went to figuring out, and then I had flat tires, but I got myself to where I could get out. And cop come, and I'm hearing cars crashing, and he's worried, or sheriff, and he's worried about me, and I'm fine. I'm up, walking around, looking around my truck, and I'm like, you need to go over there. There's people crashing. Bang! And then so he runs off, and I don't know if it was before the sheriff or after the sheriff showed up. There was a diesel coming, so I went out in the road, and I said, you slow down. I went, and they had to slow down. But then after that, I went back to my truck. There were still, wham, vehicles crashing. And the sheriff's ain't on the side I'm on to direct people real fast as soon as they got word. I mean, all of them there real fast. No, they're in other parts, of the county, far away, an hour away. And then they got to speed. Need to get rid of sheriffs. If they can't have them everywhere, like there's cops everywhere in every city or town big enough, they can, with a post office. Actually, if we had a post office where I am, they could put police. There's no post office. So without a post office, the police can't have a post in a spot where there's no post office. Now, sheriffs can, but the sheriff stations are even right next to the cities. And that's where they can have their post. Or it's right on the skirt, and then you have that border where you go into the county, out of the city. They got to be near the post office. but we have postal trucks that will run out here. So, and that part that now just seems strange to me. You know, there just should be none of that. Everybody that's not living in the city should be having to have a post office box, and it should be free, in my opinion. I believe all of that. Everybody could get a post office box. They go straight to the post office to get their mail, and it's not delivered to your property or to a mailbox for your property to then be used as a tool to tie you to all of that, to give them the right to enforce their statutory laws and all that upon you and me. As a federal U.S. citizen, you are a Fed. You're a Fed. Because you have federal U.S. citizen attached to your U.S. citizenship. So as a federal U.S. citizen, we're all feds. We all work for the government in secret. You're not to know it. But that 14th Amendment tied all of us to the United States government and the states. Their states. Their corporate states. State of X in all capital letters. That's a corporate state. That's not natural. Your name in all capital letters is a corporate name. They created. It's a title. Not a name. It's a title. It's a label. Created out of your name. And then when you say, yes, that title is mine, or label, that's me, then that's placed upon you, and then that's what they see you as. That title or that label. They don't see you as a natural human that was born out of a natural human and, created with another natural human. They see us all as corporations that created another corporation, baby corporation, and then when it gets old up, it starts doing what, they say to do, and the media parrots them, and all the medias have, ever since they started this crap 1913 or before. Radio. Even radio. When radio came out, that was when they got their stranglehold. That was the beginning of their stranglehold, to get people to believe things. This is from the United States government. This is how it's to work. Okay. Goober. Don't be goober. You know what goober is? Look it up. What is a goober? Define and describe what a goober is. Then you can understand what that word truly means too. Well, you all take care. Bye.